The Perfect Game World Wood Bat Association World Championship. It is truly a town fair of baseball, a gathering like no other. See, the way I see it, it's a proving ground for future major leaguers. Nearly 600 have found their way to the major leagues out of this tournament, and nearly 4,000 have been drafted by Major League Baseball teams after playing in this tournament. That's how I see it, but it seems so differently through so many eyes.
Hi, I'm Kent Merker, former Major League pitcher. They didn't have things like this when I was this age.
My son is out on the field playing today, shortstop. Always nervous. Love coming to these games, but it's the best part is the nervousness and the excitement and waiting for that final outcome.
Hoping to find the next Major League Baseball player.
I'm Dan Fitzgerald from Dallas Baptist University, here looking for future Patriots.
I'm John Mark Mullins. I play shortstop, and I want to play in the major leagues one day. That's why I'm here.
I'm Jared Kelnick. I'm from Waukesha, Wisconsin. I'm a 2016 Pan Am gold medalist, and I want to play in Miller Park and be a big leaguer someday.
Be on the lookout.
Spring training home to the St. Louis Cardinals and Florida Marlins. But for this weekend, it is the home of Perfect Game's World Wood Bat Association World Championship. For many of these players, it's this kind of energy. For many of these players, they hope it's a journey to the major leagues. Over the next half hour, or 40 minutes, we'll take a look at so many of those journeys. And to help me to get things started, let's go back to 2007, a man who went through all of it. And let's start with perennial Cy Young candidate Gerrit Cole. You see, for him in 07, it started with BG's National Showcase.
It was a really cool venue. I remember the stands were really, really high, really vertical, and I just remember always, every pitch was just in unison. All the radar guns would go up, no matter who was throwing, and it just turned into a bunch of old guys with ball caps on to just a bunch of white squares with ball caps, and so it was the energy there was fun. There was cameras, there was reporters. It was definitely a new experience for me.
And so for Gerrit Cole, this kind of energy certainly, but he showed it at Perfect Game's National Showcase. So up next for Cole, the Perfect Game All-American Classic. Back then, the Aflac Game.
The Aflac Game was cool because we got to play on San Diego State, which was a tangible field for me, being able to go down there and see. And obviously Tony Gwynn was there. He was around and involved in everybody, but just to be able to meet guys. Eric Hosmer was one guy that really struck me. I mean, I've never seen so much opposite field power from like a 16, 17-year-old kid.
So Gerrit Cole in his major league career has seen and done it all. He's been around it now, but back then, as a young man out of Orange Lutheran, he hadn't seen it all, especially when it came to baseball. He got this part. What he didn't get was all of those guys over there.
Yeah, I mean, they just hoard the field. There's no parking spots. The complex is somewhat spread out between the two because there's two clubs there. So you could be playing, over in Narnia, or you could be playing, front and center, and it doesn't matter because when one guy's on the field that they want to see, I mean, the golf carts line up down the lines. The bullpens aren't really removed from the fans, so they kind of crowd around and kind of encroach on your space a little bit, and it's a total new experience, especially coming from high school baseball where you get like 200-300 fans, and a handful of scouts. Guys are just on you all the time, and everybody's trying to make a name for themselves, and so it's fun.
All right, so we get it, Gerrit Cole. It's a crazy place. These guys have been having a lot of fun playing well, and we're going to get all over the complex. Are you guys ready to tour?
Oh, yeah.
That was terrible. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
One last chance. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
That was officially terrible. So we're going to go find Mike Rooney. He, of course, is our uniform, college, and hashtag expert. One last chance. Are you ready?
Yes.
That was pretty good, I guess. All right. Runes?
All right, with Ashton McGee, Evo Shield Canes, three-time defending champions of this Jupiter event. And Ashton, you're committed to UNC, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the Tar Heels have pretty sweet gear, I believe. Would you agree?
Yes, sir, I do.
But it is as good as this. I mean, this is, I'm going to go hashtag swagalicious right there. This is 80 gear. Is this your favorite Canes uni?
I'd say it had to be my favorite uniform out of. I mean, we have plenty of uniforms with the Canes, but this is probably my best one.
There's a lot of hardware with the Canes, but the swag has got to. You guys always look the part.
Yeah, Coach Petty hooks us up with everything. With Evo Shield, Louisville Slugger, everything we have is just all swagger.
The funny thing about it is, I think your best uniform days are behind you because the Canes. This is at a big league level right here. You may never wear a uniform this sweet again.
Right. I don't know if I'll be able to compare to UNC, but everything's swag. So Coach Petty hooks us up. So.
Yeah, you're in a good place. UNC, You'll be just fine. But I'm telling you right here, and tell you, hey, if you want to put in a word with Coach Petty, I'm like a large in most things. So, if
we have extras. We have plenty.
Yeah, if anything wants to make its way in Arizona, it's all good. I appreciate that, Ashton. Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Hashtag Jupes. Does he look like 7 feet tall and I look 4 feet tall?
Well, you're in the heel.
Yeah, jeez. I already have problems in that area,
So Mike Rooney, of course, always learns, and I've learned this sometimes the hard way. The camera's always rolling. It's always rolling. You might get yourself in a little trouble. Very, very good stuff. Runes has been great. Thank you for dedicating yourself to just covering this complex. You've done the same thing, and for the final time, we're going to open up your Scouts notebook. This has been an incredible tournament, and when it's all said and done, another champion will be crowned, and it won't be the Canes this year. So yours is all said and done. All right, Scouts notebook. Kumar Rocker, Team Elite, right-handed pitchers, where you start.
Kumar Rocker is the #1 ranked player in the 2018 class. He's a big young man. He's 6'5", 250-ish, and extremely strong. And he's the #1 ranked pitcher in the class. He showed today he's 91-94 with his fastball. He's got a quality breaking ball. He's got a quality changeup, and he throws so easy. When you're that big, you expect to throw easy, but you don't expect to be as athletic as he is. His dad played in the NFL. He has athletic genes, and it comes out on the mound. And it's just fun to watch him pitch because it's so easy. It's 91-94. I've seen 96. He's a 2018.
There was a line of scouts and golf carts around Chris McMahon of the Evo Shield Canes.
Yes, there was. I think that was the most attended game by the scouts, up and down both foul lines. We're going to keep on the theme with Chris McMahon of throwing easy. He's a 6'4" athlete from Pennsylvania. Really came out this summer and wasn't real well known before. And you can see the athleticism in his delivery. He throws almost effortlessly. He throws almost a light fastball. We were checking spin rate on it today to see what it was doing. Spin rate, and it was a very high spin rate, but he throws so easy. And again, it's 91-94, throws a upper 70s slurve type slider. Very nice changeup as well. So he is a 3-pitch starter that's throwing easy, throwing hard, and has those 3 pitches already.
We're not supposed to have favorites. I do. Kira Meredith. Sorry about it.
Well, Darren, anybody who's listened to you over the years knows you do have favorites. And Kira Meredith is a great one. If we talk about speed players, some speed players are fast,
right,
but they don't use their speed. Kira Meredith is about 5'8". It's very strong lower half, and it's like Ricky Henderson, instantaneous speed. He had scored 4 runs today, hitting lead off for the Dirtbags in 2 games, stole 4 bases in the first game. I know when we saw him earlier this summer, he ran a 3.56 on a bunt, and there aren't many big leaguers. There may not be any big leaguers that can run 3.5 on a bunt, and this is one of the fastest players in the class, and he's led the Dirtbags to the Final 8.
Andres Santana, he's an FIU commit. He's with the Padres scout team, Chandler World. What did you see?
Well, what we saw for Andres, unfortunately his team is the only team not still in the playoffs for the players we're talking about. He went 9 for 12 in the 4 games. Chandler World 1-3, but lost in the playoffs. Went 9 for 12 with 3 or 4 extra base hits, a home run, 9 RBIs. Wasn't quite enough to lead them into the Final 8. But he really put on a show. He's the 180th ranked player in the country right now as an FIU sign. But I think we can see that moving up here when we look at the rankings.
There's
again.
a 15-year-old you'd like to talk about. He's from the Bahamas. 15 years old. There's 18-year-olds in this tournament.
Yeah, well, this is a late addition to the menu because just literally within the last hour, I had 2 national scouts with about 60 years experience come up and say that Kristen Robinson from the Midland Redskins was like the most interesting player they've seen all week. He's still 15, won't turn 16 until December, and as a 15-year-old turning 16 and being from the Bahamas, he's an international player who'll be eligible to sign on July 2nd with the young Dominicans, the young Venezuelans. And I know the scouts notice him. He's hit 3 triples here. He's about 6'3", 175 plus speed and can really hit the ball. And when you're 15 and have all that going for you, you're just going to keep getting better.
T-Rex, fun club, really fun club from my home state. Blake Paw has had a great tournament for the T-Rex.
Well, put it in context, we've talked about T-Rex a lot, and we had Rex Gonzalez up here. I bet you if you asked Rex now, he would say his team is not hitting on all cylinders. They've had 3 straight must-win games, one to get out of pool play. They've won them by 1 run, 2 runs, and 1 run, and they're just not hitting the ball. Somehow Blake Paw has 9 RBIs in their 5 games. I think he's driven in close to half his team's runs through 5 games. It's just opportunities. He's a young man. He's an Arizona commit. I believe he hit 6th in the lineup. He's had some runners on base, and he's taken advantage of that opportunity. And he's leading that team now, and I think he co-leads the entire tournament with 9 RBIs.
Good stuff. It's time for the advanced metrics of baseball, the human metrics, and it's time for TrackMan. And we update you on some of the latest numbers. So proud of the relationship the Perfect Game has with TrackMan, a new way to follow the game, a new way to scout. We're talking top average exit velocity with a bat in your hand in this tournament. Andrew Cassetti of the Whiz Kids, Clay Owens of CBA Marucci, Bobby Seymour, Gabriel Rodriguez, Gregory Bennett. Pick one you'd like to talk about.
Well, there's somebody actually on there you didn't include in that, and that would be Jeter Downs. Because I got to see, I did not actually saw none of those other players. They've all been over on the other side. I've seen Jeter Downs many times. He plays for the elite squad, and he's a 5'9", 175-pound middle infielder, and you don't think of big exit speeds with those, but he's got quick twitch, whippy hands. He's had a number of extra base hits. He almost went yard in right center field today as a right-handed hitter. He has that kind of raw bat speed. And he's a shortstop. He's a natural middle infielder. So that combination of bat speed, which is measured here in exit speed, and the contact he makes and his defensive ability, that's a name to remember, Jeter Downs.
David Ronsley doing a little set producing, folks, so make sure in post we put Jeter Downs on that graphic. Very good stuff. I like that. Scouts are able to do that. I have no problem with that. In the big leagues, and this is where the comparison comes in, top average exit velocity postseason 2016. World Series, Indians and Cubs. For the Indians, Roberto Perez, Jose Ramirez, and you see how it compares to the numbers we showed you earlier before. And for the Cubs, Wilson Contreras, what a great story he has been with Miguel Montero working with him, and PG alum Dexter Fowler.
Well, actually, I found out after we talked that Roberto Perez is also a PG alum, but Dexter Fowler we saw a lot of. He was a Perfect Game All-American. And the most interesting part of that is Dexter Fowler in high school was only a right-handed hitter. And he trained himself to be a switch hitter as a professional. I'm sure a lot of that 90-plus exit speed are left-handed contact. So he has taken his natural athletic ability, gotten stronger, and really developed bat speed from both sides, whereas when he was here, it was only right-handed.
You're juggling a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
You're
a lot of
doing
information
a really good job.
here.
You're producing over there. You're bringing us information. Really, really good stuff. Speaking of juggling, when we come back to this fine show, we will do some juggling, and you will see what we're talking about. We roll on here from Jupiter, the spring training home of the St. Louis Cardinals and Florida Marlins, the World Wood Bat Association World Championship.
Oh, got him. Cool. Wow, this is so cool.
You guys are here because you're the best in the country. This is your moment to shine.
That was gone.
I'm Andrew McCutcheon. I want to congratulate all you guys on being on the perfect game.
Hey, Trey, right here. Wow, this is so cool. What? I can't believe what I'm seeing. This is amazing. This is crazy. Can't believe I'm actually here.
It's always fun when you get a chance to be around future major leaguers when the former alumni from this event come back around. It helps that Derek Dietrich lives literally right down the street. He's from Ohio. He came through Perfect Game with the Storm. He did all of the summer and into the fall events. He is now a mainstay with the Florida Marlins. OPS plus the last 2 years as a utility player of about 120, a bunch of home runs. You scouted him. You scouted him. You saw him as a young man. What do you remember about the current Florida Marlin?
Well, Derek Dietrich was a perfect game All-American. He was at the 2006 National Showcase, and he was that middle infielder that's 6'2", 190 pounds, and you think he's going to outgrow the position. He's going to end up at third base, maybe corner outfield. But I was talking to him today too, and he weighs within 10 pounds of his high school playing weight. He's stayed strong and loose. He's been able to keep that athleticism that all scouts thought he would lose. And he's a second baseman now. He says he loves playing second. He's most comfortable at second base. And with his strength and ability to hit, if he can stay in that middle infield position, which we didn't think he'd be able to do, hey, that gives him great value moving forward with the Marlins.
Let me tell you something about this young man. You have a talented player that comes through PG events and remembers how much Perfect Game provided opportunities for him. When he has free time, he comes to the ballpark to watch the future Derek Dietrich. Just a few minutes ago, I had a chance to catch up with him. He kind of interrupted us mid-conversation, which is fine because he's talking about his journey to Georgia Tech. A lot of that happened because of your journey through Perfect Game. And now it sounds like we're being paid to say that, right? I mean, that's the kind of thing that they would like to have in this show. But it's realistic for you. How did it all work out? How were you found collegiately, professionally, and how did Perfect Game help?
Well, Perfect Game was, gave me the opportunity to just go out and be seen by all the schools and colleges and scouts and advisors, and it's something that just let my career take off as an amateur and now even as a professional. And for me, Jerry Ford and Andy Ford were so influential, in contacting my family and having the communication with us, and really the first thing that got it going for me was the PG National Showcase in Arkansas in 06.
Right.
So, I'm so thankful for that opportunity, and from there it just really all took off for me.
It's incredible as these guys behind you, we just heard them hollering and cheering a moment ago. You had a lot of cheers. It was 06, correct?
Yes.
You had a lot of cheers in the Red Scout team because you guys won it all here. What was Jupiter for you like? What are your memories walking around here?
So many people, teams, vendors, scouts. It's even grown more and more. I mean, I think there were maybe 60, 70 teams, when I went, and I think it was 2007, and now there's even hundreds. And so. But to be able to come and see all these kids and see them play, and all the scouts see them play, all the schools see them play, it's probably the best event, the best culmination of players that you can put together, and just provides so many opportunities for these kids to just further their baseball career.
Your grandfather, longtime minor league manager,
yes.
Steve Demeter.
Yeah, that's right.
And just a man who devoted his life to baseball.
Absolutely.
Let it fly was his phrase,
yeah.
And you remember.
Yeah,
him
let
with
it fly.
Guys, can we see that there? Look at that.
That's
let
my,
it fly right there, tattooed, and to remember his grandfather who he lost in 2013. Just share. We'd love to know more about your grandfather, please.
Yeah, my grandfather, Steve Demeter, longtime baseball man, was in professional baseball for 52 years, I think it was, and played, managed, coached. He was in the major leagues. He was a coach in the major leagues, and minor leagues, scouted. Every title that you could hold in baseball, he pretty much had. And but beyond that, the relationship that we had together from the time I was 8, 9, 10 years old, taking me to games. I was holding the radar gun at the the minor league games. Right from the get-go, I knew I loved baseball, and baseball was in my blood. And he was just such a great baseball man. And I never met a person that didn't have a good thing to say about my grandfather, Steve Demeter. So, I play the game in honor of him, and I got my start probably because of him and our family, and we're a baseball family, and that's how we got our start with Steve Demeter.
Spectacular. You know what I would guess, as I'm the son of a ball player and try and pass things on that I learned, only made it to the minor leagues, but I would guess he would expect you to pass on advice, right?
Absolutely.
So let's say you were able to hold court with these guys or any amateur player. What advice would you give for these guys at this point in their high school career?
Well, for most of these guys, they're juniors and seniors in high school, and if they haven't made their college commitment yet, or even if they have, and a lot of them, my goal was always to play professional baseball, but like you said earlier, I ended up electing to go to Georgia Tech for 3 years, and for me, I think that was one of the best choices I made as far as my baseball career and what I needed to do to mature. Some guys are really ready physically and mentally, as a high schooler to go play pro ball. For me, school was the route for me. And at Georgia Tech, I matured not only as a baseball player for 3 years in the ACC, but as a person and as a student. And so having the good grades, working hard in school, and showing your work ethic there is huge, because that, usually if you're working hard in school, you're working hard in the cages or out on the field,
Right.
and you're really, you have that characteristic that all these scouts and schools and teams love. I mean, that's the number one thing I would say, keeping your grades up and just enjoying the game and loving to play the game and being eager to continue to get better every day.
Outstanding stuff. Here's what I know about you on the lighter side. A great haircut. That's
Thank
the
you.
first thing that
This
I
is
know.
my off-season due.
Here's what else I know.
Uh-oh,
I know you can juggle.
I already know
here.
it. Go ahead, give me that one.
All right. Hey, are you ready?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Toss
good
it
to
in
me.
for
There
me.
we go.
Let me know when you're ready for the
Yeah,
fourth.
no, you can't throw the fourth one.
All
I got to
right.
keep practicing.
All
But
right. This is what I know.
yeah, this is what I know too.
come on now.
Yeah, I've done this for probably since I was 8 years old, and as you can see, it takes your hand-eye coordination unless you're looking straight at the camera. Oh, quick! No air there. I got the recovery, but no, something I've done for a long time, and just to further my my skills as a baseball player. Got the PG logo right there. I love it, Jerry Ford. But no, I think something fun that I've got to do all over the world, really. Juggled when I was on the USA team in Europe as part of the guys, and San Diego was in the Aflac All-American game, which I was able to attend that just from going to the Perfect Game event and the national showcase. But juggling at children's hospitals, to bring smiles to kids' faces and bring some joy to people, but also to further my baseball skills, because hand-eye coordination, like is crucial in baseball, the swing, throwing, fielding. So it's just something fun that I like to do, that I continue to do. My mom always encourages it, because it's fun, and I think it really does help me. So
outstanding.
Yeah, it's something cool.
Thank you, my friend.
You got it.
Appreciate you hanging out with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Amazing hands, fun to see, and we certainly are thrilled to have Derek stopping by. What a pleasure it was for all of the current players to be a part of that. Those are the good hands, which is a perfect tie and getting us into our Rawlings Spotlight. And so, David, obviously, we love the hands we saw over there. Catchers have to juggle a lot. Very busy behind home plate. Not only pitches in the dirt, framing pitches, doing good stuff, but the psyche of pitchers. Your Rawlings Spotlight is who? I love catchers.
Noah Naylor.
Noah Naylor's back.
Noah
Good.
Naylor's back. And as you were saying, the whole thing with catchers, they have to do so much. It's a unique defensive position on the field. And what scouts ask themselves all the time is, can he stay behind the plate? If a shortstop can't stay at shortstop, he can move to second, he can move to third. He has the whole defensive spectrum. Catchers have to be able to catch, or it devalues them defensively. Noah Naylor has all the physical tools to be a catcher. He has a lot of lower half quickness. He has strong hands. He's got a rocket throwing arm. We've seen him popping in the low 1/8. He has all those physical attributes to be a catcher at the major league level, and that's where his bat makes him special. Now, he's going to have to go through the punishment of catching in the minor leagues, go through that psychological stuff that just takes years to do. But the physical characteristics of a major league catcher are all there for Noah.
He's an 18 grad. He was featured on an earlier show. Certainly enjoy being around Noah Naylor. All right, let's move along, because now we have an opportunity to have a chance to get to know the guy he was talking about before. Big pitcher who got invited by the Evo Shield Canes from his travel club out of Minnesota. He's now a Cane, at least for this event, and his name is even more so on the map. I'm going to go over to the bullpen and talk pitching with Sam Carlson. Sam, I've found it best that we always seem to talk better with one of these in your hand. So it's just easier, right? I mean, it opens things up. So let's do a little teaching, and then we'll get into some of the things about you. When you obviously wind up, don't worry about the stretch right now, but wind up, what are some of the keys for you? Whether it be balance, whether it be, the strength of your motion, whether it be longer stride. Just start me up with some of your keys.
Yeah, when I pitch, I try and stay focused on staying on line of my target and not falling off to the side. I'm pretty tall, so the whole leverage with the arm, like everything. I just try and throw hard and stay close as long as I can, and the ball flies out. So.
All right, walk me through some small steps. We're going to do it because if you try to stay balanced, then in most times I'll be able to stop you and you won't fall over, right? I mean, we have a light wind, but I think you should be okay. So walk me through from your step back for me, start me up, and then lift that leg and stay right there. Talk to me about right there. You say, and you don't have to hold it, but you say you want to keep this closed
What do you tell yourself
I-
with your leg lift?
When I get to my leg lift, I'm just focused on staying on line, not pulling out, not coming back, because that's when you start sailing balls to the side. And I mean, big part of my game is keeping the ball down and just firing strikes.
On this side, if we can come around here on this side, when you break, when you lift the leg here and you go to break, what are some of the keys here? Where do you like to have your hands positioned, and when you break, do you go with the baseball?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think much about my break. I just make sure I get to this position with my glove every single pitch.
Arm comes up, and just, you don't have to go through motion-wise, but show us the arm angle where you think you're most comfortable.
Just right there.
Okay. All right, let's talk about those pitches.
Four-seam fastball, and I have a lot of arm side runs, so if I want to get a little more like bite on my ball to go down, I throw a two-seam fastball just like this. And then my favorite pitch to throw is my changeup. Some people have called it a split changeup in the past, and it drops a lot, and it's 10 miles an hour slower than my fastball. And then I also throw a curveball just like this. And
so you stay on the side of the baseball.
Yep.
Or you don't get behind it at all. So that's the key. There's pressure. If you feel pressure right there, right?
Yep.
Let's go back to your changeup real quick. What are some of the things you tell yourself about your changeup? Mechanically, arm speed. What do you tell yourself about?
When I throw my changeup, I take the circle. It's almost like you're like dumping out like a pot.
What's life like in Savage, Minnesota?
There's nothing better than it, to be honest. I mean, the winters are cold, but the summers are beautiful, and I love it.
People are genuine?
Yep, Minnesota nice. Gotta love
Minnesota nice, I like that. Minnesota nice. Burnsville High School?
Burnsville High School.
What's life like at Burnsville High School?
Burnsville High School is awesome. I mean, I love all my buddies
The Blaze?
there. Yep, the Blaze. Yeah, and we had a pretty good team. We went to state last year, and I mean, it's an awesome time.
So, what kind of course load do you have?
I'm actually high into my academics. I took a lot of classes last year: calculus, AP statistics, and human anatomy.
Really?
So I'm learning all about the body. Yeah.
You learned about your arm.
Yep.
How to take care of your arm.
Yep.
Very good stuff. So, which class are you most on the edge right now? You're either barely hanging on at a B or barely hanging on in an A.
Either that human anatomy, or I'm taking a public speaking class.
Well, you're doing it right now. What are you getting in public speaking?
I have an A right now.
And just you're like a 90, huh?
Yeah.
Just hanging on.
It's like 92.
92. Who's the teacher?
Miss Michelle Deerhog.
Michelle Deerhog. So right there, Miss Deerhog, he's going to show you that he deserves to be bumped up to about 100. He's going to wrap this interview. I promise I haven't prepped him. Go ahead and speak with her. Tell her how good you are.
Yeah,
at this.
I mean, it's an awesome time down here, and I hope when I get back, I got a good grade in the class.
Nice, it's 100. That's 100. Miss Deerhog, please take care of him. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your life's about to change. Have fun this year.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, got him. Cool. Wow, this is so cool.
You guys are here because you're the best in the country. This is your moment to shine.
That was gone.
Hi, I'm Andrew McCutcheon. I want to congratulate all you guys on being on the perfect game.
Hey, Trey, right here. Wow, this is so cool. What? I can't believe what I'm seeing. This is amazing. This is crazy. Can't believe I'm actually here.
Jason Pineda, this man, just 16 years old. He's a senior from the Bronx, Metropolitan High School in Bronx, New York. Now, you play for the Bronx Bombers. Eric Semler has put together a team. It's a team of opportunity, really, and you have found your way to a lot of these perfect game events. I think you found your way here to the World Wood Bat. They say, now Jason, I don't know if this is true, you can tell me, that some of the best players and the best teams in the world at your age are here. What's this experience been like for you? We know, you and I talked before, we know it looks very different than life daily in the Bronx, but what's this been like for you?
This is by far behind anything in the world, like the best tournament I've been to.
Why?
All the scouts, all the competitiveness, the best guys are here.
Tell me about the opposing teams and the players that you've walked by and that you've seen.
I've seen the top-ranked guys, other guys, the underestimated guys. Everybody putting the same amount of work. Everybody's doing what they have to do.
I love that word, underestimated guys, because maybe that was you a year ago, right?
Yes.
Maybe that was you at Metropolitan High School and not exactly getting the attention that you hoped you would get. It's not that you were frustrated about it or anything, but you hoped. Well, you've gotten it this year. Describe your experience. Folks, he's signed at U of M. He's going to the University of Michigan. Describe how Coach Bakich or his staff found you. I'd love to know how that happened.
We were down in Georgia. I had pitched the game before that, and it was my rest day actually. They came to watch the game. They asked if my name was on the roster, and they wanted to see me. Coach told me go to the pen, get ready. I went to third, and just did what I had to do. I worked out, had a great game.
You had a great game, single day. And then how did the communications go after that with him? How does that happen?
Well, I was young. I was still in my sophomore year, so they can't really communicate with you. They called Eric and asked if I can go on my unofficial visit to visit the University of Michigan. And I went. I loved it. It was the greatest thing ever.
But there's some inspiration with your mom, Valencia. She's unable to work right now, but she's worked really hard, obviously, her whole life. Tell us about her job.
My mom came to this country when she was very young. She had kids very young also. She found a job at a hospital in Brooklyn. She woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day, went to Brooklyn, did her job, and she always told me, whatever you want, you have to go and get it. And that stuck with me forever.
What advice does she have about the classroom?
She said that's the biggest thing. Baseball doesn't always work out, but the classroom is always there for you.
So you have the perspective. You appreciate the work that she's put in to get to this point. Unable to work right now. And on occasion, too, you have good times where you see your dad Julio. He, too, works hard.
Yes, definitely.
What's his gig?
He's a mechanic. He's been a mechanic for quite a long time now. He came to the United States on his own, without his parents or anything. I see him on occasion weekly, and he's always there for me, supporting me. Whatever I need, he has it for me. He's always there.
You know, life in the Bronx, you and I were talking about how sports and athletics kind of managed to break down those walls. We hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, like, obviously, he and I look different. I mean, it's,
Definitely.
you know, that's life, but sports kind of breaks down those walls. You were saying life in the Bronx, sometimes people find ways to disagree instead of agree, right?
Yes. Here is just baseball. Baseball is baseball. There's no barriers to anything. There's no, oh, you can't do this because of this, you can't do that because of that. Bronx, sometimes people don't have that same mindset. But here, it's baseball. Baseball is what it is. There's no color barrier. There's no anything. Nobody can discriminate. You do what you have to do.
Well, where do you hope the story ends? I mean, we're telling the story now, and you're going to Michigan, and you know, the Bronx Bombers have been a good avenue for you. When we talk again in 10 years, what are we going to be talking about?
Hopefully the same thing about my life journey, all the work that's been put in, and I hope to reference other kids, and everybody has to work hard for what they want.
What will your job be?
My job, hopefully I would be a baseball player, but
Good, I figured you'd say that.
If that doesn't work out, I'd like to be an athletic trainer.
Athletic trainer, so studying some medicine.
Yes, sir.
And working in the field. Your course load, what's your course load like in the classroom?
I have STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, chemistry, and a couple other AP classes.
All right, very good stuff. So when I come to do some stuff in New York with the MLB, can I come see you?
For sure.
What kind of food are we going to have?
My mom can cook for you if you want that.
Really?
Yes,
Authentic
definitely.
Dominican food?
Yes, sir.
What's the best dish?
Anything. Everything's good.
I'm absolutely going. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Really neat story right there. Jason Pineda headed to the University of Michigan from the Bronx to Ann Arbor, Michigan. Amazing how the game of baseball continues to make the world smaller and smaller. Really neat story. We're with Kirk Saarloos, recruiting coordinator for TCU. And Kirk, I got to ask you a really serious question right now. I visited your guys' facility a couple weeks ago, and Bill Mosiello, who everyone in the game of baseball knows, longtime minor league manager, longtime college coach, not exactly what I'd call a technology guru. I see a really nice-looking computer on his desk in Fort Worth. Over/under on how many times per week that thing gets turned on?
Well, I think it's on all the time. It's just a matter if he knows it. It's control. I think it's Alt-Delete to get the thing running. But his son at TCU is a computer science major, so I think Mo pushed him in that direction so he could tell him how to turn on the computer.
And Mo, like most of us baseball guys, has married significantly up. Janelle is a rock star. Mo, great baseball guy. The technology stuff, it's a little iffy. So on a serious note, Los, this event for Jupiter, you guys have been working so hard on the recruiting trail all summer long. And for a lot of guys I talk to, it seems like this is a really fun event because the hay's already in the barn and you can see a lot of guys that you've been on for a long, long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, you recruit these kids earlier and earlier every single year, and so you have background with them for 2-3 years. And so to come over here and watch these guys play probably their last amateur event in terms of summer ball, for us as college coaches that we're able to go out and watch, it's pretty fun because I think we have 10 or 11 guys here, so you're able to see those guys all in one place competing with their summer program and have a lot of fun doing it.
The other thing that I think is so interesting is that it's the best taking on the best, you know, and you can see what maybe a super regional type of matchup would look like. The other thing that's so interesting is the golf carts. I mean, I would imagine you see some guys that will play for you someday in more anxious moments than you've seen them before.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing you see, you know, especially in this championship 32 round, you know, guys getting after it in the dugout, intensity. You don't really see that a lot of times in the summer baseball circuit, and you see it here. So you kind of get to see what guys are going to be like when there's grease in the fire, and that's always fun to see your guys competing at a high level against really other good players from around the country.
TCU continues to recruit at a high level. Now we're going to hear about Logan White, longtime scouting director, really instrumental in putting this Dodgers team together that's done so well. Well, Logan White now not just here in Jupiter as a scout, but also here as a dad.
So it's interesting, when you do this for a quarter century and you do this for a long, long time, there aren't any more secrets. But I guess I'd ask you, what have you learned as this game has evolved into a front office role? Still, there is a scout in you every place you go. What's one of the biggest rules that you have learned?
One of the biggest rules I've learned, Darren, is no matter what, the game never gets old, and you can always find a player that you're not expecting to find. Obviously, in today's game, you know, players are more well known with showcases and stuff like this event, but you always have to go to the ballpark expecting to see a big league player, somebody can be a star. That's what I've learned. You always have to have that attitude.
Are you big on bloodlines?
I love bloodlines, absolutely.
Why is that?
You know, I think partly because players, and you would know this as well as anybody, you grow up around the game, you have a father that played in the game and you're around it, and you just learn the game, the right way to handle it, what the locker room's like. I think you're not as intimidated a lot of times when you go out into spring training and into pro ball. And, you know, there's something to be said. The father generally a lot of times always was a good player and stuff himself. And so I've always liked bloodlines. And then even if you look at mothers that were good in sports and athletics, a lot of times they have good kids that play. So bloodlines is huge for me.
Son Logan is a catcher, so now you're doing this from the dad's side. Mountain Point High School, the T-Rex Club. And so answer this in two ways. Do you scout him differently than you father him? Is there a little dad that crawls into your head and
yes,
it's like, I see
the most difficult,
right?
It's the most difficult thing I've had to deal with. And when I said bloodlines, I'm generally talking about I love kids like the Bellinger kid. His father Clay played in the big leagues. I don't consider my kid necessarily bloodlines. Maybe bloodlines would be a good scout, but not necessarily baseball because I was a minor league player. But to answer your question, yeah, it's been very difficult for me to separate the father from the scout.
Right.
Because honestly, it's hard for me to enjoy the game sometimes because I'm harsh on him. I see things he needs to do to get better. I see things that aren't as good as his peers and stuff like that. Very difficult sometimes. And I have to remember that I love him no matter if he's a good player or not, and just to go that direction and not let the baseball part overrule my love for him.
So when we look out here and we see the kids out there, there is the advancement of technology. TrackMan, I mean, you can learn about spin rate.
Right.
Will technology at least allow you to go to places and then let your eyes follow? Does that make sense? I mean, how much have you embraced
Absolutely.
technology?
And you know what? I think sometimes they view somebody like myself who's been in the game a long time as not embracing technology and some of the things we're learning in baseball with analytics and stuff. But you have to embrace it. Like here, for example, this tournament, you have games going on 16 fields or whatever we have going on. And the TrackMan technology is great because you can look on the phone and you can see how hard guys are throwing, who's up to bat, things like that. You'd be a fool not to utilize it, especially in a setting like this when you're trying to see a lot of players. So I think you have to always look at ways to enhance your ability to do a better job in the scouting world.
But what have Jerry and Betty done right? I'm going first name basis here.
Yeah, I love them.
The founders of Perfect Game.
Right.
The scout in you, that's the baseball organizational guy. What has this group done right?
Well, I think the first thing they did right, I think I go back, I'm old enough to go back when they first started. I think their intent was to help players from a cold weather state that weren't getting a chance to be seen.
Right.
And I think it was the good of their hearts what started this organization. And so I think when you look at that, that's what they started. And to think that it would evolve into this, I don't know anybody that could have predicted it, to where the one thing that they do is help players get exposure and enhance their lives that way. I don't, players that have played here, let's say whoever it would be that's playing in the major leagues, I don't think they help them play in the major leagues. Like, for example, say Corey Seager with the Dodgers, I don't think he's going to be a big league player whether he came here or not. But let's face it, coming here and playing here, it helps them get used to the pressure, and then they get the exposure. So I think that's one of the things they've done right, is putting kids in that competitive environment where they can get used to, you know, how many hundreds of scouts are here going around, and they get used to that too. So I think it helps from that standpoint.
I always liken it to an amazing musician or an amazing singer. Right. They just build a very nice stage and quality spotlights. You still have to be a good singer and a good musician, right?
Yes.
But they'll build the stage for you to step onto, right?
That's a great analogy. I think that's what it is. It's a great analogy, Darren. I couldn't think of one better, because it is a stage for the kids to come in here and step onto it and see. And you know, like I said, I don't like to, and I always try to teach the scouts or talk to myself about it too. Hey, be aware there's some guy that's the backup singer that you need to be paying attention to, because that backup singer may become, you know, the lead singer someday.
Nice. Nice. Hundreds of scouts and golf carts at this event, and certainly hundreds of scouts at the National Showcase in June. They find their way to the event. I love the story you tell, though, about a player, a great player, who almost didn't find his way to an event. Please, can you share it with them, please?
Okay, and everybody knows the player, Freddie Freeman, you know, one of the best first basemen in baseball. He's from Southern California, Orange County, I think, I'm not sure that.
All the great people are, by the way.
Of course. And he was invited to the 2006 Perfect Game National Showcase in Fayetteville, Arkansas, on the University of Arkansas campus. Well, he's supposed to show up. We're at check-in. It's like, Freddie Freeman isn't here. You know, we just talked to him a few days ago. Where is he? Well, we try to get hold of him and everything. He and his father are in Fayetteville, North Carolina. They had gotten a ticket to Fayetteville, North Carolina. And we're like, no, we're in Fayetteville, Arkansas. So they had to get on a plane and go from Fayetteville, North Carolina, Fayetteville, Arkansas. And they got there, and Freddie played great. But it's certainly an interesting misadventure.
I love that. I love that story. Freddie's a star, had one of the best offensive seasons in the major leagues, and nearly didn't make it to the showcase. We won't get lost right now, because we're going from here just to the field right over there. Chet Lemon's team just came up short in a loss, but Chet Lemon's Juice, a really unique program. I'm going to go talk to him. So we talk after a loss, but you know what? You've been in thousands of games, and in the end, it's about your players. And so years ago, when you had a chance to take a different journey in your life, you chose young people. And I'm always intrigued as to why someone chooses young people. We're around a place where there are several major leaguers, former major leaguers, that have chosen young people. Why did you do it?
Because when I left the game, I had this relationship with young guys. They listened, they wanted to learn. It was a little bit different. It started a period of time. I think we were right on in the beginning of where players were coming up, and as young players, guys were considered studs before they even had an opportunity to have to do things. But when you were working with the young guys, they all listened.
My final question for you is, as we get set and let them play this next game, is to take a look at what the future holds with regard to African American players. And that's a subject that we talked to Fred McGriff about it yesterday, and he said he's got a passion for it. He's going to make sure that he does what he can. You know, Tony Regan's with Major League Baseball doing what he can. You know, the RBI series, so much going on. Obviously for you, I know it's a passion. And explain to me how PG can grow, how baseball can grow, how it all can grow in that subject matter.
Well, it's funny you mention that, because I've spent a lot of time with Tony as well. Because remember, when we first started, we had one of the largest travel leagues. We actually started travel baseball when I retired from baseball here in the state of Florida. The only thing existing when I retired was Little League, Pony, Babe Ruth. It was a traditional organization. There was no such thing as travel baseball. But we started what was called the Sunshine League. And we had 800 teams playing in the fall and 800 teams playing in the spring. So we've been very, very active. And one of the things that we noticed, and one of the things when we wrote a report to Major League Baseball, is that we told them that a lot of these youngsters are looking to get out of the ghetto. They're not looking. They don't want things built in the ghetto. They want to get. They're looking to get out, like myself. What happens in many cases is that these kids just can't afford it. See, the other sports like basketball, they have the shoe companies. So all the top athletes all belong or play in the Nike leagues. They play in the Adidas Gauntlet they held at our building. They play in Under Armour events. So a lot of these athletes are playing, but that's the way they're doing it. But financially, think about it. A bat costs $200 or $300 if it's an aluminum bat. You got to buy a pair of cleats. Then you got to have a uniform. Then you're talking about traveling. These guys can't afford to pay for a lot of the things that it costs. They could come right out of college and then the NBA. They could come, right out of the college and then the NFL. You can come out of college in baseball, you still got to pay your dues in the minor leagues. You might be there 2 or 3 years. You may never see the big leagues. So there's a lot of things that the young African-American player has to contend with that takes too long for them. They want instant gratification. If they're really a talented player, they want an opportunity to demonstrate their abilities right away. And you're not seeing a lot of that now, So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. We got folks like Jerry Ford and people like Jerry Manuel and Tony Regan with Major League Baseball and Jonathan Mariner, all those guys that really, really care about the game, that want to see good things happen. I think they're going to make some really neat things happen. I hope I get a chance to be a part of it because I love working with our youth, and it means a lot to me. So hopefully I'll get a chance. You and I will be talking about the wonderful things we're doing in youth sports.
Great hearing about Chet Lemon and the Juice, a great program teaching leadership and accountability, also with the best nickname in all of travel baseball. Here with 17-year big leaguer Scott Rowland. Scott was here with Team Indiana, the first base coach. Scott, tell us about your experience here in Jupiter with this bunch of Indiana kids.
Well, this is great. This group of kids, they're good kids. They're good young men. They're humble young men, and every kid on the team's from Indiana, so we kind of put a whole fall team together. I played with Danny Held, who's the coach here, and it's nice to come back in the Cardinal facility, where I've been and had a bunch of spring training days. But I give these guys a lot of credit. These are great guys. The tournament's run very well. Beautiful weather, and enjoy my time.
And you were a great basketball player too, but for us in our age group as kids, there really wasn't this stuff. Are you kind of blown away the opportunity for these kids from Indiana to play on a national scale like this?
Yeah, I have a 9 and 11-year-old at home, so this is pretty overwhelming for me. Yeah, I didn't come up doing it this way by any means. We were playing tennis ball in the backyard, and I think there's still a lot to that. I still like to see kids play tennis ball in the backyard, but yeah, this is a nice opportunity for kids to get out and a lot of people to see them.
Last thing for you, one thing that's neat about Jupiter is those of us that have worked in baseball, it really becomes a baseball reunion because so many professional baseball, even college baseball people are at this event. Did you find that you're kind of touching base with a lot of people you see at this event?
Yeah, I am. I've seen Brad Wilkerson, a couple of teammates that I played with along the way, and a lot of scouts that go back to a lot of professional college teams. So there's a lot of baseball people here for sure.
And congrats on a great run for Team Indiana.
Great, thank you.
Now we're going to hear about Manny Upton, not just the dad of Melvin and Justin, but also running Team MVP here, doing a great job.
So we go back to 2000 and then 2004. Both of your sons came through this. Melvin and Justin came through this. Now, they were special players. Everyone had heard of them. They had earned their way to the front page.
Exactly.
But what was this tournament, Dad? What was this experience like?
This experience probably, coming from Virginia, which everybody says is not a big baseball town, so I think it kind of solidified their position in the nation. It validated what everybody was. As a dad, you don't want to put that kind of pressure on your kid, so it kind of validated that, hey, you're playing against the top players in the country, let's see how you hold up. And that's, being from Virginia, you play baseball part of the season, then you play every other sport because the weather's not right, so that it was big. I think it all started with Mike Kadire in '97 when he made it. Then all of a sudden, Virginia became a baseball town. So, and then David Wright and then BJ made it. So we had a run of pretty good players during that period. So it was pretty nice.
Hampton Roads area, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Some great coaches and some great Townie Townsend.
Yep, Townie Townsend started the AAU program, and everybody said taking the best players out of the league, but the best player wanted to play baseball year round, and they started to evolve. So. And it's big, man.
Look, I know you love kids, but your kids are grown, so we know you're not here as a dad anymore, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about MVP, the prospects across their jersey. We're going to go into this pretty in depth.
Okay.
But, why are you here with this program?
Well, Jerry and I communicate.
Jerry Ford.
Jerry Ford. Me and Jerry have been communicating forever. He gave Justin got the first Jackie Robinson Award. Miss Robinson presented it to him. That was a big deal. And Jerry has always been calling me, hey man, we need to get more African Americans involved. So we just was talking, I forgot we were talking about it. He said, man, I'd like to get more African American players. And we have a tournament called MVP in Atlanta where I've been going to like the last 7 years, taking kids who can't afford to go and play. A lot of these kids weren't even on the map, don't have scholarships, but from here, they're getting the people in Atlanta asking about them to play, and that's what I'm all for. You know, everybody's not gonna play pro ball, but they can get an opportunity to go to college and get an education is a big part of it. So Jerry and I put it together in 3 weeks. Jerry said, man, I'll find a spot for you if we only play 4 games, not in just 4 games with teams out of constellation. He said, Jerry, I just want to give the kids a chance. And we got an opportunity. Jerry put us in a bracket, and here we are 2-0, and kids are happy, so hopefully we'll win this next game and we'll move on. But Jerry is the biggest part of it. Jerry and I communicate and hit that. That's a big deal for him. And I appreciate him. Jerry, he just, you know, he wants the best for kids. He don't care color or anything. He just wants the best kids to get an opportunity. And we're on the same page. And we've always communicated since, like you say, since 2000. Me and him still, you know, we still talk.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because the other part of it is, you know, hotel rooms, plane tickets, rental cars.
Yep.
No one eats more than this age, right?
Exactly.
I have a teenage daughter, or they're like that. And so that has to be paid for. Your boys help do that, huh?
Absolutely, and didn't hesitate. I told them, because they pay for our tournament, we play in Atlanta, MVP, they pay for that this year. Along with Chris Young and Edwin Jackson, through this Players Trust, they pay their part in their Players Trust match, so we were able to raise enough money to, you know, get a bus for the kids, pay for hotels, and I had to come back and ask BJ and Justin for pay for this, and they said, Dad, just tell me what it costs, and hey, kids staying for free. I mean, they don't have to pay no hotel or anything, so they're behind 100%. So I love when they're giving back.
Outstanding. That's got to make you so proud.
Absolutely.
And the dad in me is just beaming with
exactly.
that. That is so cool.
Exactly.
So speaking of parenting, I guess we'll just wrap it up
okay.
with advice you would have for parents. You had 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
These gentlemen have done very well. But either way, you still want your son or daughter to go, when they go through athletics, they might be a good school teacher. They might be a good husband, a good dad. So what advice do you have at this age for parents?
From the baseball perspective, let them have fun. Both my boys will tell you, I never put pressure on. When I found out they were going to get drafted, I told them, enjoy your senior, enjoy it. And parents, I think now, put their pressure on their kid. You got to play pro ball. No, let them have fun. If pro ball happens, it happens. So you know that the opportunity, it's only 1,500 guys playing that league. Right. And it's a tough league. So I just tell parents, let them have fun. Be behind whatever they want, whether it's soccer, gymnastics, be behind them 100% and don't let them quit anything. And that's the biggest, don't let them quit because they'll quit in life.
So cool. Go win this game. We
Right,
appreciate that.
Thanks, Zach.
What a wonderful experience having the opportunity to cover Justin as an 18-year-old with the Arizona Diamondbacks and now see Dad continuing to give back. And by the way, sons writing checks to make sure really good things happen. Outstanding. And now it's time to put a bow on this show. David Ronsley, we put a bow with an amazing World Series and how it ties to Perfect Game, because when you look at the players and you look at the possibility of 24 players that are PG alum, maybe with some shifting of rosters. Let's start with the Chicago Cubs. It's just an amazing list, and I'd like for you to pick 2, one from each graphic. You look down the first 6, you look down the second 6 for the Chicago Cubs. Give me a memory, briefly.
A memory of Chris Bryant. When Chris Bryant was with Perfect Game, especially when he played in the Metrodome at the National Showcase, Chris Bryant could hit the ball higher than I think any player I have seen in my Perfect Game experience. He hit those balls in the Metrodome that you thought were going to hit the roof and probably came very close. So his power was obvious back then. I didn't know whether he was going to be that good of a hitter as he obviously is now, but the power was obvious from when he was 16, 17 years old.
That second Cubs graphic, you can see rolls down with Russell, Amora, Coughlin, Fowler, Hayward. and the bat of Schwarber, of course, that late ad in the roster. The Indians, Cody Allen, Mike Clevenger, Corey Kluber, Zach McAllister, Andrew Miller. That's the first handful. As we take a look at both sets of Indians graphics, all 12 players, what one Indian jumps out to you?
Well, obviously Francisco Lindor. There are 7 All-Americans on these 2 teams. 6 of them are on the Cubs. Only 1 of them on the Indians. Interesting, all 7 are position players. But Francisco Lindor, when he was 14 years old and weighed 140 pounds, was hitting baseballs out of pro parks. We've talked about Rawlings Gold Glove stuff. When he was 14, 15, he had the actions of a future Gold Glove shortstop. Back when he weighed 140 pounds, and it was like, wow, what happens when this guy gets to be an adult and gets bigger? And we watched him over a 3-4 year period get stronger, become an All-American, become a first-round pick, and now we see him starting at shortstop in the World Series. That's part of the fun part of what we do, is seeing the kids from literally when they're 14 years old to watching them on TV in the World Series, hitting third for one of the World Series teams.
Outstanding stuff. David Ronsley, I don't know what we would do without him. Great stuff. By the way, we just are getting started on the media side with Perfect Game, really on the calendar too. In November, SiriusXM, MLB Network Radio. It's MLB Round Trip with Perfect Game. It is our 1 hour in the wintertime radio show committed to amateur baseball. When the season starts in April, it's a 3-hour show every Sunday evening. You'll want to join us for that. SiriusXM's College Sports Nation, February through June. It's Perfect Game's College Baseball, the only live radio show weekly that covers from top to bottom, all levels, college baseball. Proud of that show. Make sure and find it on SiriusXM. On MLB.com in June, coverage of the Junior National Showcase and the National Showcase. We've been doing it for the last couple of years. And then the road to Perfect Game's All-American Classic goes right through MLB's All-Star Game. David and I will host the annual preview show as we roll out the roster of the best 50-plus players in the country. We'll do it at Major League Baseball's All-Star Game, Fan Fest. And then to wrap things up in August on MLB Network, it is the Perfect Game All-American Classic. Love our relationship with the Major League Baseball side and the media side. That's why things are just getting started for PG on the media side in it. Some big things to announce as well. He's David Ronsley. I'm Darren Sutton. You must love baseball because you've hung out with us this long watching so much about these talented amateur players. As we say goodbye, some sights and sounds. We had an awful lot of fun here all week long with these families, the scouts, the players, the coaches, the vendors, the Perfect Game family. And most importantly, this doesn't happen without our production crew. Very fortunate. The names you will see are those that got the pictures to all of you. So thank you very much. And until next time, we'll see all of you and you at the ballpark. Take care, everyone.